When thinking of Asian superpowers, people automatically think of Japan, Korea, and China. But shocking to most, one of the highest-ranked economies in Asia is actually Indonesia. Located between the continents of Greater Asia and Australia, as well as between the Indian and Pacific Oceans, Indonesia...
Hai guys, jumpa lagi di Bang Jaka Channel. Saya doain semoga rezeki kami itu bertambah di samping rezeki yang ada ya. Media asing mengatakan bahwasanya Indonesia bakal menjadi negara ketiga raksasa guys. Tapi jarang banget diketahui oleh media lain guys. Yuk langsung aja kita tonton bareng-bareng guys.
Indonesia, a land of contrast, a nation of over 270 million dreams. For too long it's been overshadowed, but beneath the surface, something extraordinary is brewing. With a booming economy, rich natural resources, and a strategic geographic location, Indonesia is poised to reshape the global order. Is this Southeast Asian archipelago ready to claim its place on the world stage as the next superpower? Find out till the end of this episode.
Indonesia's economy is now 10 times bigger than it was just 2 decades ago. After 20 years of frantic economic growth, it has been overtaking major Western economies in size one after another. But still, its rise has so far gone mostly unnoticed. But ignoring Indonesia would be a huge mistake, because hidden away from attention.
Bener kan guys, dibilang mereka bahwasanya Indonesia tuh jarang diperhatikan ya. Kalau Indonesia luput dari perhatian mereka, itu hal yang bahaya banget bagi mereka ya kan.
And front page news, it's quietly transforming itself into Asia's third giant, the third and last economic superpower of the region after China and India.
Wah, ini menarik banget nih guys.
That will soon become impossible to ignore any longer. So this is the rise of Indonesia.
When thinking of Asian superpowers, people automatically think of Japan, Korea, and China. But shocking to most, one of the highest-ranked economies in Asia is actually Indonesia. Located between the continents of Greater Asia and Australia, as well as between the Indian and Pacific Oceans, Indonesia has been dubbed the Emerald of the Equator.
Kalau Indonesia itu digelar Jamrud Khatulistiwa, itu bener banget guys, nggak salah lagi ya. Setahu mereka negara yang paling hebat di Asia itu ya India, Jepang, ya, Korea. Mereka salah besar guys, padahal Indonesia. Wah, ini makin seru banget nih guys.
Beauty and power of this overlooked country now boasts to be a shining example of what a true hidden gem can achieve.
When superpower nations are discussed, the nations that usually come to mind are the US and China. Rarely though does Indonesia get a mention. Nonetheless, while they don't currently have the economic power of China or the military might of the US, there are reasons to think that Indonesia might become a superpower of sorts in the future.
Indonesia is an entire world to...
Indonesia adalah seluruh dunia untuk dirinya sendiri, dibilang guys. Gimana yang memahaminya guys ya? Apa itu pujian, apa itu hinaan ya? Bingung juga.
...itself. But yet this country is poorly understood and even more so, often ignored. This is a country that is estimated to be the world's 4th largest economy by 2050.
This is Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. With 12 million residents, it's the symbol of Indonesia's economic power, but it's a city with a chronic sinking crisis. That is what used to be a mosque, now an eerie monument of a looming disaster to come. Land subsidence like this is apparent throughout the Jakarta coastline, with many communities relying on hastily built walls like these to protect them from the Java Sea. For many Jakartans, it's a race against time.
We are worried that our homes will sink, but what can we do?
Now, that is the port, and you can see that it sits below the waterline. Now, research shows that Jakarta is sinking by 6.7 inches or 15 centimeters a year, and the government's...
Jangan sampai tiba-tiba Jakarta itu tenggelam ya, sementara ibu kota belum dipindahkan. Kalau kita berpikir ke masa depan, ya, ini hal yang sangat mengerikan guys. Tapi kalau hal ini belum terjadi kan, itu kita malah mengolok-olok IKN guys ya. Jakarta bakal tenggelam adalah salah satu alasan yang bikin ibu kota negara Indonesia tuh pindah ke IKN guys. Namun sementara ini guys, IKN masih pro dan kontra. Tapi jika terjadi tenggelam tiba-tiba ya, semua orang pasti bersyukur banget guys kalau IKN tuh udah dipindahkan ke Kalimantan ya. Tapi mudah-mudahan jangan terjadi guys. Ini kan kalau amit-amit terjadi.
And solution? Move the capital city. A whole 1,200 kilometers away to neighboring Kalimantan Island. In this remote region of eastern Kalimantan, a 16,000-strong workforce is currently turning a rainforest into a conceptual green capital city named Nusantara. an ambitious undertaking driven by President Joko Widodo. The president plans to host the first Independence Day ceremony in the new capital in August.
80%.
The first phase of construction is 80% complete. We're finalizing the interiors and exteriors. It's all progressing. God willing, we will complete construction on schedule.
However, land acquisition is still a hurdle. More than 2,000 hectares of land is still in dispute, with many locals still fighting for.
Berarti masih ada juga ya beberapa konflik di sana ya. Di antaranya adalah sengketa lahan kayak tadi, yes.
Just compensation.
If our compensation is not enough to build a new house, then we are unwilling. We don't have anything else, and it was never our intention to sell. It is the government that wants this land.
Recently, public confidence in the project took a knock when both the head and deputy of the Nusantara Authority unexpectedly resigned. The job was given to Basuki Hadimulyono, Minister of Public Works, the man behind many of Jokowi's infrastructure miracles, who vows to put indigenous interests first with fair land purchases and relocation options while restoring investor confidence.
We will decide if the status of land here will be for sale, rent, or a public-private joint venture, so investors won't hesitate.
Nusantara is estimated to complete a 5-phase construction by 2040, making room for an estimated 2 million residents. As for Jakarta, a long-term solution still awaits.
There is an expectation, perhaps within Indonesia itself, but there's also optimism and expectation beyond Indonesia's borders around the economy's prospects in the long term. Of course, it is a goal of Indonesia to become a developed economy, perhaps by 2045. I'd like to ask you, what do you believe, based on your vast experience as finance minister, stretching back almost 20 years, are the main obstacles which Indonesia must overcome to achieve that status?
Yeah, I think all country aiming to become a high and wealthy, prosperous country.
Kalau ini ya semua orang setuju guys ya, bahwasanya IKN itu adalah masa depan jangka panjang guys.
Indonesia is no exception. We are aiming for that, and we are aiming for the 100 years of our celebration of independence. Indonesia want to achieve to become a high advanced country, but we also recognize that this is not an easy goal. I think the history of many countries economically as well as politically, they see a lot of countries stuck in the middle. That's why there is a term of middle income trap. And we recognize that this trap is usually coming from, first, the quality of the human capital, which is not developing following the development of the economy itself. And this has something to do with the poverty, inequality, quality of human capital like education and health. And of course, in terms of the health, we also have a problem like stunting and the nutrition. So these are all a very important building block to avoid human capital, the middle income trap, that is human capital quality. And that's why Indonesia really focusing on that. The problem is not about political commitment or will, but in terms of the ability to design the right policy and executing it, building the right governance, and that is become the second very important of the middle income trap, that is whether we are able to build the right institutional setting, regulatory framework, and governance. These are challenges, to be very honest. When we talk about the governance, whether this is related to the efficiency, effectiveness, and in this case, corruption. And for Indonesia, this is the biggest issue. And that's why we have to build on this very particular aspect of good development, that is institutional building, regulatory framework, and governance. And that has something to do with, for example, we provide more incentive, we provide more check and balances. We are becoming more open in Indonesia, like for example, Ministry of Finance. I give the example that every month we disclose, we provide people where we are in terms of budget implementation, how much money we earn from the tax, how much we spend for what. These are all become what we call it a process, both political as well as a cultural process, in order for us to create an openness, accountability, check and balance, and good governance. The third is infrastructure. There is no country can become an advanced country without good and efficient infrastructure.
How important is foreign direct investment, continuingly high foreign direct investment into Indonesia, and how does Indonesia balance its need to attract foreign direct investment whilst also restricting certain exports?
Well, I think that's not really too conflicting issue. First, I will put it within the context
Satu pertanyaan udah jawab, malah nambah lagi pertanyaan lain ya.
Of this geopolitical and competition, and also the recognition of the climate change as a threat for the human being. And that's why we also recognize that in order for the world, the countries, people to continue to develop without compromising climate change, they say that the energy need to be improved and transportation need to be converted into electric vehicle. Indonesia, in terms of our natural resources, well positioned because we are relatively rich on the natural resources that fit with this kind of trend of new geo-economic trend, which is more and more concerned regarding the carbon emission. And also at the same time, we have the opportunity to develop both on the energy side, renewable energy, and on the transportation side, the electric vehicle, including the battery technology with our natural resources. So for Indonesia, in order to use this very important opportunity, we have to shift our policy in order for us to create more, what we call it, value added. It is for the better of Indonesia, for the stability of Indonesia, but also to serve better for both region and the world.
Nah, begitulah guys pemberitaan media barat tentang Indonesia. Yang kita nggak nyangka, mereka mengatakan bahwasanya Indonesia itu adalah negara ketiga raksasa di Asia guys. Dan mereka juga mengatakan bahwasanya negara Indonesia adalah negara yang paling cepat kemajuan ekonominya guys dalam 20 tahun terakhir. Wah, keren banget guys ya. Mereka baru sadar ternyata Indonesia nggak boleh luput lagi dari perhatian. Karena Indonesia diam-diam dia menjadi negara yang overpower guys. Bener-bener di luar nurul guys ya. Nah, bagaimana menurut pendapat kamu? Silahkan berikan tanggapan, sanggahan, opini, dan kritik di kolom komentar. Semoga bermanfaat bagi kita semua dan menjadi ilmu baru. Saya cukupkan video sampai sini. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ciao. Mantap.